Hey y'all, welcome to Spirit Tea Talks podcast with your spiritual big sis, Sin from Divine Hoops. Join me to spill the hottest spiritual tea about co-creation, Santísima Muerte, readings, healing, and everything else you can think of. I'm here to inspire you and help you tap into your most authentic and divine self. So join me in this walk of life and know that you're not alone in this spiritual awakening. To be in the know or learn more, follow me on Instagram at Divine Hoops. I have also resurfaced my apothecary, which has now been officially moved to divinehoops.com. For more insight, longer episodes, and behind the scenes, make sure to join my Patreon. See y'all soon. What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to Spirit Tea Talks podcast with your girl, Sin from Divine Hoops. Or if you're new here, welcome to our mystical, ghoulish, fuck around and find out soul fam. I am so enchanted to have you here, and hopefully you stick around because we would love to have you on our mystical fucking table and pull some cards, roll some dice. Not dice. All right, I'm getting off topic now. Y'all, I really wanted to get this episode rolling. I know that in the past, or if you guys have seen my other episodes, I've kind of sprinkled here and there about, being a devotee to Santa Muerte. I've talked about different aspects of her, how to get closer to her, signs if she's calling out to you, etc., etc. But I feel like I need to do kind of like this episode in full-on dedication to her and kind of bring in some of those key points, because first of all, we are in the middle of the novena, and second of all, I don't think talking about it once would be beneficial. I think being consistent on like key points of being a devotee could be helpful and essential to those who are new, or even those who just needed kind of like a refresher reminder, because it is a lot sometimes. Sometimes we do be forgetting the basics in devotion and just practical magic. It's always essential to go back to the basics. And I really felt drawn to do this episode because myself, who I'm trying to get back into the routine of things, I'm trying to, I mentioned last episode that it was a very humbling experience to get kicked off of my daily routine and the shit that I had going on because something else threw me off course, right? That like, it was humbling to try to get back into that routine and being consistent, and just overall the devotion in itself to get you back into it, right? So it doesn't when it comes to making a routine of any sort, it's not just so easy to get back on the fucking bike. Sometimes it does take time to get the wheels in motion, and I felt like this would be the perfect time again to talk about how to become a Santa Muerte devotee, what are some of the key points of the devotion with Santa Muerte, what to look after and what to avoid, and just kind of that overall perspective. And hopefully we can get through it all in just one episode. If not, I will try my fucking hardest to stay on topic and do a multiple part series, but I really just want to do it just one go. You feel me? Like, I know it's just a lot to unpack, and maybe right now this will be just level surface shit that needs to be discussed. So let's go ahead and kind of jump into the whole devotion talk, because why the fuck not, right? There's been a lot of talk on, like, well, maybe not as of recently, or maybe I'm just not that in deep in social media, especially TikTok, when it comes to the devotion of Santa Muerte. I personally tried to steer away from, and it sounds so bad to say, but I personally do try to steer away from like people on social media, and especially TikTok, that preach about Santa Muerte, because I've just had really messed up experiences with other devotees or people that claim to like know devotion of Santissima. It's just a lot of like mixed emotions. Everybody just does their own shit the way that they're supposed to or they want to, and then there's other people that really just be doing this for clout. So I try to steer away, and I've mentioned over and over again that like the only person that I truly claim that like get your information, get your facts, get any products, etc., is from Asriel, Hijo de la Santa Muerte. So I would steer away. Anyways, what I was trying to say, there had been a lot of talk about like, how do you know if Santa Muerte wants to work with you, and if there's certain like signals and key points. And again, everybody's gonna have their own opinion and their own outlook. This is just my personal outlook and with my personal experiences with Santa Muerte, because as always, I feel like I wouldn't be transparent or as authentic or just like giving you guys the whole picture if I didn't talk about my own personal experiences, to give you guys more of like an overall look. So my experience and my overall opinion about how do you know if Santa Muerte is calling out to you really is as simple as you feel drawn to her. You feel the need to want to get to know her, or you have dreams about her, or there's just been something tugging at you to learn more, right? To me, that is a very clear signal, especially when you dream about her, that like she wants you to look into devoting to her. Because there's been times when like, again, people have said that like, well, she's always been there, and yes, she's always been there, you know, she's death, so she's always going to be there. But there's certain feelings that people get where like they can't get her out of their mind. They just feel this instant connection. And from all the devotees that I have spoken with, my clients included, they have all said the same thing, that they just felt this like attraction of wanting to know more, this like drawnness of energy of like, I gotta have her. Like either they see her at a botanica or something and they just get so enamored by like her presence that they just feel really drawn into welcoming her in. So I feel like that is one of the biggest signs, if you cannot get her out of your mind, because that feeling is never going to go away. You're going to have these feelings once you start doing your altar of like wanting to get more statues or wanting to add into your altar and like make it bigger and bigger. And that is also a sign that like your relationship with her is also growing. And it's not to say that you need a big altar to show how much you love her. It just shows that there's sometimes things like, even if you have a small altar, you're gonna want to add more things to it. You're gonna want to like spoil her. There's going to be this feeling, which brings me to another point of like, okay, once you feel drawn to her and you start like kind of like your journey with her, there's going to be a lot of times, because this has been also a reoccurring thing where people feel like they're not doing enough, right? Maybe there's like financial problems, or there's just like a living situation that they just feel like, fuck, I want to be able to provide for her and give her more, or like make her altar bigger, or like I'm sharing a space with like my brothers or my siblings or whomever, and I can't really have that space for her. So then you start comparing your altar to other people who also have an altar of hers, but it may be bigger altar, or just like a bigger setup, or just like a different kind of setup. And then you start feeling guilty, and then you start feeling like kind of discouraged, and this disconnection, right? And the disconnection does not come from her, especially if you are trying to like advocate and like be consistent in your devotion. And what consistency looks like in your devotion is like spending time with her, and like still showering her with love and attention, because she knows that at the end of the day, and especially if you do talk to her, she knows like your situation and what you want to do for her. You know, she's aware of it. So I feel like a lot of the times when people start their devotion, especially early on, they start to realize that they want to add more, because that enamored feeling makes you want to keep giving more to her. And this goes based off of like just our everyday interactions too, like our loved ones. We want to make sure that our loved ones are safe, protected, and we want to shower them with like gifts or like acts of service or whatever the case may be. So it's the same concept with Santa Muerte. Side note, I've also seen people say like you shouldn't put human emotions to Santa Muerte, like she's not a jealous deity, or she's not like, you should not try to humanize her. And to a certain extent, yes, you should not, because obviously whenever her feast days come up, which feast days are as followed: August 16th, September 9th, and November 1st and 2nd, which those are Dia de los Muertos. Those are called her feast days. They are not birthdays, because in order to have a birthday, you have to be birthed into the world, right? So she is death. So that's one concept that I do agree that we should not humanize her in that essence, because they're called feast days. Okay, so to that extent, yes. However, she is a jealous deity. She is jealous energy. She is a jealous goddess. Or however, then people have like misconceptions of like, do not call her a goddess. She's not a goddess. There's certain things. Got it. Perfect. She is a jealous just deity. Okay. People that tell you otherwise, I feel like those people should not be completely trusted in their word, because they clearly are doing something. And this is what I've noticed, that new age devotees, like Nuon devotees, always try to make her very humbling and very, very love and light, because they don't want to deal with accountability and the consequences of their fuck ups into their devotion, that they try to turn the other cheek and say like, oh, she's not a jealous deity, or like she's extremely forgiving. And this is not to say, and this is not to fearmonger anybody, because there's a lot of fearmongering already around her reputation, right? But this is also to add some fucking respect to how you come about your devotion with Santa Muerte. Jealous deity, yes, she is. She likes her own space. She doesn't like to share her altar with other energies. She does not like that. And I've talked about loyalty and your devotion to Santa Muerte, so check out that episode to the reason why I'm saying she is a jealous deity and how to like perceive that. I've talked about it. That was my input, that was my opinion, and over my years of devotion, consistent devotion to her, I've learned this. And again, putting human emotions would be not putting human emotions to Santa Muerte would be very ignorant into avoiding anything, because then explain the love that you feel. That's a human emotion, right? You feel loved by her, you feel protected by her, you feel, those are all things that us humans experience. So don't let somebody tell you otherwise. Now, connection with Santa Muerte, as we're speaking about feeling loved by her, right? After a while, or even early on, there's going to be people that are going to be questioning whether or not they're building a connection with her, or whether or not she's happy with you. And this disconnection, from what I've seen, that people constantly ask, how do I know if Santa Muerte is connecting with me, or how do I know that Santa Muerte is happy with me, or how do I get closer to Santa Muerte? That is like the biggest question that I see consistently being asked. And It is so fucking simple that I know that a lot of people, when we tell them, especially like Azriel and myself, when we tell them like just spend time with her, it feels like a lot of people are just like, no, there has to be more. Like, there has to be more to it. But it's really simple. It's spending time with her, doing her daily prayers, doing the novenas, even doing like the rosaries. Like, it's prayer, dedication, and devotion. Your devotion to Santa Muerte. Let's go ahead and real quick, because I feel like this may help. Let's look into the definition of devotion, right? So we can kind of tangle that together. So, devotion, love, loyalty, or enthusiasm for a person, activity, or cause. Religious worship or observance. Its order aims to live a life of devotion. Prayer or religious observance, right? Devotion. She went to her devotions. See, so there's the talk of like what the noun is, which is love and loyalty or enthusiasm for a person, activity, or cause. Literally what I was just saying about loyalty. And again, if you want to know a little bit more about what I'm trying to say about that, go to one of my last episodes. I talked about it. Devotion is love and loyalty. So how do you show somebody that you are loving them and that you're being loyal to them? And that is being consistent with them, right? Being consistent on like showing them that you're loyal to them. Reason why it's called being a devotee to Santa Muerte. Why is being in devotion to La Santa Muerte? It's because devotion, that word in itself, talks about love and loyalty. Loyalty, why she needs her own damn space and not being shared with other energies. You're showing your devotion to her by doing the first and most simple task that she is asking for, and that is to give her her own space. Are we catching on here? Okay, awesome. I always tell people when they get their readings done of like, and it's literally almost like 90% of my readings of like Santa Muerte readings is like, how do I get closer to her? How do I know she's happy with me? And I always say the same thing. At least dedicate yourself once a week, at least to start off. And if for whatever reason, you can only do once a week, I'm gonna be shocked, because after 2 weeks, you're gonna want to do this shit at least every day of spending time with her. Getting a journal and a pen, or a divination tool, which could be tarot cards, oracle cards, rods, a pendulum, whatever the case may be, something physical. Because us as humans, sometimes we do need that physical touch of something to know whether or not we're connecting with an energetic pool, right? Understandably so. We can feel energy, but I feel like a lot of us need something to feel physically. So I always recommend to get a pen and paper or start like divination tools, and then spending at least an hour of that day dedicated to her, which could be like a Sunday. I always say Sundays are best for connecting with spirit, because Sundays for me personally are the days that I do my cleansings and reset the whole energy of my house, especially because myself, I do workings for other people, so I'm constantly cleansing myself, my energy, my altars. But on Sundays and especially is the day to refresh entirely everything, right? Just kind of hit that refresh button. So I always recommend that maybe doing it on a Sunday when you can spend an hour for that day, and then start building towards like an everyday hour a day, and then eventually it's going to become second nature to just spend more and more time with her. But showing up for her in a way that you would want somebody to show up for you, of just like, hey, you know what, let's go have brunch together on a Sunday and just spend like an hour just fucking gossiping, bullshitting, whatever the case may be, or whatever you like to do that makes you feel good. This way it starts showing you consistency. Okay, so consistency in your devotion is going to look very different from other people, but in the same way is going to look almost identical, because a lot of us have sort of like a same overall practice with Santa Muerte, which is doing our daily prayers, doing our novenas, making sure that we don't work with her on Wednesdays, because if you read the daily prayers, it'll tell you Wednesdays are her rest days. So if this is the first time you've heard of this, then you can start now on Wednesdays not working with her, not asking her for anything, not doing any rituals, nothing of that sort, no petitions, no nothing. That shit can wait till midnight or the very next day. So letting her rest on Wednesdays are important, and that's going to be a thing where you start being more consistent and like paying attention to who she is and how to devote to her, right? And then you're gonna start learning more about like her altar setup. Maybe you'll start to learn more about the colors and the different meanings of each statue, and what works best for you, and what other maybe aspect of hers is calling out to you, so you can start like researching like what are like the color aspects that mean of hers. You start buying more things, and it's going to progress. Okay, so this is a good thing. That means that her energy is being connected with you, and she is like talking to you, because you're gonna start like adding things in your altar that like may not make complete sense to you, but it's something that maybe she's asking for. There's going to be times that like obviously having like fruits, she loves her apples, in my case she also loves her oranges, so they be lasting forever in her altar. That means that's great. You'll even start seeing little bite marks eventually in your apples. I know that I see them all the time because she loves them so much. And making sure that you always have water for her, make sure that you always have some sort of fire for her, or candles, or if you can't have candles consistently lit, there's a lot of us that have like LED lights around her altar, and that's a signification of light. Her incense, she loves copal, and just like eventually you're gonna start adding more. So like her tequilas, her cigarettes, her cigars, she loves her Mexican like bread, like comida de Mexico. She loves that, so I give her a lot of that, and then candies, and then just eventually you're gonna start building things that you're gonna want to see, the crystals even that you want to add on her altar, and by all means necessary, fucking do it. But yeah, so with that, there's going to be a lot of challenges that come along your devotion. She's going to put you to the test a lot, and you're going to start seeing like even people falling out of your life, and that's because that's a way of protecting you. So she's going to start like doing some protection around your life to kind of clear way and make way. So you're going to start seeing a lot of things just kind of shifting. And I think this is where people's faith really starts be put to the challenge, to see like how much you're really willing to like learn and be patient, and understanding that like she does mean well, and she's here to elevate your life. So your faith is going to be put to the test, no matter what year of devotion you are, or how deep of devotion you are to her. Your faith is going to be put to the test, and that's just the world in general, that's just the universe as a whole. But she will teach you patience more than anything else. So that's why, side note, that's why when some of us that are practitioners, when we take our time during certain things, and this is to really emphasize on taking our time, because it is very important for us to work with her, alongside of her, even if it's just doing oils. And I don't even want to say just doing oils, because making oils in itself is a whole entire process. And there's times where Santa Muerte, and especially because majority of my oils are made with Santa Muerte, are like, no, not yet, or we need to change something. There's just certain things that like you have to kind of be mindful of. And when we are patient and take a step back, and there's people in our DMs constantly chingándonos, because that's what's happening. in a lot of the cases, majority of the cases, it's like, we get it, your life right now is in shambles, or you're wanting to call onto this person, or you want your ex back, or you want this and that, and you're like constantly blowing up our DMs. I know personally, I take a step back, because then I already know how you and I may not be able to work together. Because one thing about me, two things for sure, I like to take my time. I like to work in Spirit's time. I love to work when Santa Muerte is completely, ready to go. And that's the best time to fucking do it, right? So patience is going to be such a fucking key element, and anybody can testify and tell you, like, patience was probably one of the biggest lessons that she'll teach you. But take on to those lessons, okay? She's also going to keep you accountable and do a lot of healing for you to advance. Working with her overall, or just being devoted to her overall, is such a beautiful fucking experience that even if you're not completely ready for the challenges that come with it, she guides you in such a way where it's not terrifying. It's not something that you can keep avoiding, and she makes it very well known that, like, she has to guide you in some sort of way. And the best way that she can do so is by doing rebirths over and over, ego deaths, really getting into your shadow work self, and just really delving deep. So you will definitely be put to the challenge. That's also why I recommend having like a journal, just like in dedication to her, because you're going to see over time that if you keep track, and I wish this is something that I would have kept doing, is like keeping track of everything, of the devotion with Santissima, and like the lessons that she has taught, is like something that you can kind of look back on and be like, oh my god, I forgot I did that, or like my petition was for this and came through. So again, journals, grimoires, get into it, especially if you have children, or if you just want your legacy to be passed down. Like, come on now, this is something that you want your generations after that to look back and say, like, wow, like my auntie or my uncle or my great whomever, like, really did that shit, like, and now it can be passed down, and Santa Muerte's legacy can truly be a testimonial to like your own journey. I know that, like, I want to do that. There's something that also, like, my best friend, she was telling me that one of her friends is going through some shit, and they had asked, like, they were talking about it, or I guess, and she had told them, like, basically, like, your house needs a cleansing, you need a cleansing, like, you need to get right. And granted, my best friend does not practice like that, but I have, like, taught her a lot along the way. She was there for my whole entire devotion to Santa Muerte from the very fucking beginning. She was the first one I told, I think I'm gonna start devoting to Santa Muerte. So, and she's the one that got me my first statue. So my homegirl, she knows what's up. She knows what's up. So she told them, like, okay, but like, I'm gonna need your permission to invite Santa Muerte into your home before I continue anything. And she was like giving them key points or whatever. And just recently, this weekend, she introduced me to those friends, and he was just like, yeah, she was like telling me that, like, what I had to do and how to go about it. He's like, and I'm very open to it. And she did say that, like, everything she knows is because of you, and how much in depth it really goes. So for that, I say, like, I love that so much that my best friend was just like, but Santa Muerte's energy has to come through, even though she doesn't completely practice, but she respects it. And she had, like, I gifted her first statue, like, so there's like a legacy that's already being passed down. And I even gifted that person like a Santa Muerte bracelet. I was like, you okay with this? And he's just like, yeah. There's little ways that we impact people of spreading the good information of Santa Muerte, the greatness that she does. And there's going to be some times where people are ignorant, because I know I have my other two best friends that, like, whenever they post Santa Muerte, they always get at least one fucking person trying to demonize her or like talk down on her, and like they correct them and they're just like, nah, you got it fucked up. That's another way. Even people that are against it, like, we kind of have to stand 10 toes down with her. Not kind of, we do gotta stand 10 toes down with her. So that goes based off of like just the devotion, scratching the surface of like devoting to Santissima and really how to go about it. I think you kind of have to put yourself out there to start off, and always like come with respect, of course, being mindful who you get your information from. And again, there's going to be a lot of red flags with a lot of people, and y'all, when I say like I'm not fucking perfect, like I am not, I'm far from it, but I think one of the biggest things that separates me from a lot of other practitioners, and especially people that are online and spreading her information, is that like I am super fucking transparent on anything that goes on in my life, for to a certain extent, of course. Like, right, you guys don't know every fucking little thing, but I am very transparent and do give like my actual personal experiences, not just sounding like a fucking TikTok ad and making it very level surface, but I do try my best in connecting with y'all and being completely authentic. And at sometimes is sort of discouraging, especially this time around. I feel like this time around was very discouraging, and I think now, because I have more eyes on me, that a lot of people come or have their own strong views. Like I mentioned, it just bothers me that I had to block somebody just recently because they kept blowing up my DMs about an order when I kept putting general updates, and I don't ever do personal updates on orders. Like, if I'm telling y'all like on a consistent basis, like, hey, right now is not good, like right now is not good, I am pausing everything until my spirit is right, until like Santa Muerte allows me that time and energy to do so and touch any sort of work. But right now is not the fucking time. And like my thing was, as I'm going through this, right, like my thought process was like, what if like something really extremely tragic happened in my life, where like something very tragic, right? And I'm not giving you guys detail by detail on like what the fuck is going on, but I'm just saying like, hey, right now it's not the good time. What if I'm really like on the verge of a fucking mental breakdown, and you're like chingándome for one fucking oil, and I'm telling you like right now is not the motherfucking time, bro. Right now is not the motherfucking time. This time was so fucking different on like coming back or like trying to get back, because there was a lot of discouraging process even right now. Like I'm back. I've been completely back for like the past, like, I don't know, 2 weeks, and I'm still getting people like chingándome, and it's just like, what did we not learn common courtesy, manners, and respect? Like, it's mind-boggling to me. So this is also a PSA. Like, I don't work for y'all, and I know it's gonna sound really fucked up because I used to say this shit all the fucking time back in 2022, and there would be so many people that would get pissed off, but I'm going to be fucking genuine yet again, because y'all are trying me. y'all are trying me, and I don't play that. But I've said it before, I don't work for y'all. I work for Santa Muerte and my ancestors, especially in this spiritual like game. There's going to be a lot of other practitioners that may be better suited for you, and that is completely fucking fine. But I am not here to hold y'all's hands, and this is something that Azriel had mentioned on like one of his lives recently, that he even said that something that is different between him and I is that we tell y'all what to do and how to do it. We don't want you guys to rely on us. And who else is really fucking doing that? Like, seriously, without charging you like a $300 fucking phone call session. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even then, we do try to help you guys elevate in your devotion and in your spirituality over fucking all. And that is the big difference. But with that comes a lot of patience, and it comes a lot of like understanding, because there is times where we may be giving free game in the fucking DMs. Maybe there's somebody that's really going through it and needs just something, and they may not have the funds for it right now. We're going to help. So if this is your first time that you're hearing that, like, I'm so willing to help you in whatever form that may look like, you know, because at the end of the day, like, this is spiritual. This isn't something that, like, obviously this is our living, but like at the same time, like, if you're not elevating, if the community's not elevating, then we're doing something wrong. So again, be patient with your practitioner. Figure out who vibes with you. Don't just go with anybody. And this is like not even including me or Azriel or whatever. It's whoever you feel drawn to, that are authentic, that show their face consistently, show their work, and are, you know, you see them actually being devoted to Santa Muerte. To me, I've always said a practitioner should be able to show some sort of altar setup. That is just in my opinion. I don't know how to feel about people that don't really be showing at least a working altar. At least at that, you know what I mean? Like something. Because to me, then I don't know. It's just, that's just me personally. There's people that may not show their altars whatsoever, and that's just completely up to you to go based off of their nuance and the vibe, I guess. But overall, just take it fucking slow. Devotion is not something that you're gonna start feeling in like a, I'm not sure what you guys are wanting to feel. And I wish like people, because I even asked before, like, what is it exactly that you're trying to feel, or what is it that you're wanting to know if you feel connected? And it's always like, I don't know, I just want to feel something. And it seems as though that the feeling that it's being expected, it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just like, maybe there's the struggles of like financial gain, or there's just struggles mentally that like, maybe those struggles, y'all want them to go away and feel like, oh, it's everything is working, like everything I'm asking for is coming into light. But that in itself takes time. So I don't know what exactly the connection is. And we also have to be mindful. And again, I've made I've made like episodes about devotion to Santa Muerte, so just kind of go back and take another listen on those, because I've mentioned before that maybe because we're human, we want to physically feel something, because that's just how we function all this time, you know, being here in this human experience. We want to physically feel a connection, we want to physically know or like hear it. But obviously, working with a spiritual energy, it may not come in that essence, at least not fast, especially if you're just trying to open your third eye and opening up portals and doing rituals and, you know, being this actual practitioner. That comes over time, you know, and it doesn't just happen like in 1 year. But I mean, it might. I feel like if you're really consistent in your devotion, you'll get to know. I have some clients that like, they know their shit. They know what's up. They do the damn thing, and they may not promote like rituals for other people or like do workings for others and stuff, but like they know what to do and how to go about it because of how consistent they are in their devotion. So you'll be able to see results, I guess, so to speak, because I'm guessing that's what a lot of us are wanting to know, is results. You'll see those results over time, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. She comes first. No matter what, no matter who. My best friend and I talked about it just recently too. I don't know what it was. We were talking about like dating or something, and I was saying like my one big thing that like I want to ensure is that like whoever I end up with, they have to be okay with Santa Muerte, because I have chosen her over family through my years of devotion, and I don't regret it one fucking bit, because she's always been there. She's got my God, like she's moved mountains and oceans for me, and I have never questioned her either. And I think that's a big fucking thing. Honestly, I have never sat down and been like, why did you do this, or are you sure this is for the best? I have never. I go with it. You know, I talk about it over and over about my experience with like my abusive ex, and when I got on my knees, lit that candle and asked her to just reveal every fucking thing, that I was ready, I was tired, I was done. And in less than 24 hours, the entire fucking truth came out. And I didn't even hesitate to like know what was the next move. Like, nah, fuck that, I am leaving. Don't know how the fuck I'm gonna do it, but I am leaving, because I put that much faith into her, and look how everything has worked out in my favor. I think I am very rich in life, rich in abundance, because I started literally from the ground up. I had nothing, and it wasn't just me, it was another little human being that I had to look after, and there was no financial support coming from any fucking way. And I managed, and now to me right now, what's really mind-boggling, and I know that y'all are gonna constantly hear me saying, but like, learning the art of alchemy has completely changed my fucking life, because now the trips that I'm planning, the people that I'm fucking meeting, the people that are disconnecting from my life, the snakes coming out, like, it's crazy. And I don't ever have to worry about a damn thing, because I know that it happens just all in my favor and how I want to do it. And obviously, the aspect of the human experience is always going to have its battles, it's always going to have its hurdles, it's always going to have its obstacles, it's always going to have something to balance everything out. Because if life was just constantly fucking good, then there wouldn't be any sort of balance. And Santa Muerte also represents balance, the reason why she has her scales, to restore the balance in our lives. And I've said it before, you need to have also scales. The moment that Azriel told me that I needed to have scales in my altar, immediately, and I did that same week, I saw a big change in my altar, my connection, and my devotion to her, my life, and keeping up with my scale, and making sure that I activated, that I make sure that it's nice and even. It has really restored that yin yang energy, and we need that. So when you're experiencing struggles, when you're experiencing hurdles, do your best to not point the finger at Santa Muerte. Lord, please don't do that. Or sustain yourself from asking why, because everything has a purpose, and our destiny has already been written for us. And then especially, you are the fucking author to your story. You are the conductor to this entire fucking ride. So there's nobody else to sort of look in the fucking mirror but yourself and know that she is us and we are her. So we are a reflection of her always. And the actions that we do and the consequences that we encounter, it is for a better purpose, a greater purpose. And sometimes when we make mistakes, that is also a learning opportunity. When we lose somebody, when we go through certain struggles in our life, it should always be a reflection of like, what can I do to either avoid, to get better, or to improve in this situation. Because even in the darkest times, she will show up and she will lead you into the fucking light. But she also has the lamp. Okay? She is the conductor of life in itself. Even though she is death, she also represents life. And she'll give you the sense of wanting to live, of wanting to go through this human experience, of giving your life more purpose. To when you do your devotions, or I'm sorry, your prayers every day and invoking her every day, she gives you a purpose to look for, you know? And I think that in itself is just beautiful. And doing truly the basic things is what's going to bring you results, because that's just like our everyday life. If we do something consistently, you're going to start seeing results, whether those are good things or bad things. You know, you eat trash food every day, it's going to bring you results, and it's going to bring you into a form of having bad health, right? If you work out every day, even if it's just like going for a run for 15 to 30 minutes, you will eventually start seeing results. So it's just that same basis. I hope that kind of helps, just kind of wrap things kind of a little bit together, you know. I know right now she is extremely popular, she's extremely known, and I get it. I mean, who wouldn't want to be intrigued by her? I just can't, you know, focus it enough. Just be mindful who you go to for services, because if they're indebted with certain spirits, it's gonna be nasty energy. I don't know how much I have to repeat it. I've had clients for years and years, and I don't know. Just let's do better. You can't just go to any fucking body for just any fucking thing. Cheap people sometimes bring cheap results. So just letting y'all know, sometimes people are in desperate need and need to be paying their dues, and they're paying them with you. So you also have to make sure that you know this person like really well, and you connect with this person extremely well. On that note, I wanted to tell y'all a little something before I get off. I know that we are about to hit the one hour mark, but I really wanted to tell you my experience, because I know that there's been so fucking many of us that are like going through this very tough like mental struggle. And boy, like, have I heard people really fucking going through it. Like, let me tell you, my boy, there's been so many people that like are having the same symptoms. And there's also this thing that like I realized. I talked to a friend, a colleague, and she was like, you know, I don't get winter depression, like how most people say like winter brings a lot of people depressed. She's like, I get summer depression. And it dawned on me, and I was just like, holy fuck, that's a thing. It's a fucking thing. It's not just like a winter depression that happens, but it's also like a summer depression. And we were talking about it, and we were kind of like saying like sometimes the summer depression comes from like, you know, the sun always being out and feeling like you have to be doing activities every single day, like the pressure of like enjoying the good weather, right? And also like sometimes just being icky and sweaty, it's so unpleasant. And there's also like people that struggle with like body image during this time, that like it makes you feel really uncomfortable, so it starts messing with your mental health. So That's also a thing. So if you're feeling like that, you're not crazy. It may be just, summer depression. And I don't want to just say just, but take the time to maybe go to therapy, maybe get some medication, or do something to enhance your mood. And this is where I'm about to insert something that I've been doing, because obviously, if you guys have hopefully been paying attention, if you followed me long enough, y'all have known that like for the past 3 months, I've been going through an emotional fucking roller coaster ride. The eclipse season took me the fuck out. Like fucking completely took me the fuck out, and it made me feel really icky. So I am a person that already has done a lot of fucking healing, a lot of shadow work, a lot of fucking therapy. So I am aware of the signs and the symptoms and the things that I have to do. Reason why I didn't touch any packages, any work, because like I needed to take care of my mental first, and I wanted to ensure that like it was safe for me to proceed with the work that I was like already in the process of doing. I think that's what was the worst thing, was that like I had already started on like orders, and I had already started on like work. So here's the thing, when you guys book work with me, I'm already prepping that the work is not being lit just yet or is in process. No, but the moment that you start booking, I already have, like, if you have sent your information and everything, I already have that being charged in the altar. So I think that was like the worst thing, was that like I was in the beginning stages of everything, so everything was like in a pending state. So that made me, feel a little bit like fuck, but it's just like I have to do it. And like I have Santa Muerte just like, no, don't. I have my ancestors like holding me back and trying to keep me grounded as much as they could, right? So that was like the worst fucking feeling. But like again, because I've done so much work, that I was just like, I need to do something about it, because I cannot stay in this place. And me being a person that likes to feel things, and I had talked about it too previously, that like there was a time that I realized, oh, I'm kind of numb. Like I haven't really felt things out completely, because I'm gonna be honest, I was completely afraid of what that might have looked like. I'm like, when you are hungover, it's probably the worst analogy, but like when you're hungover and you need to throw up, and you know that like you had just ate this like fat fucking juicy burger or whatever, or something spicy, and like, oh, this is about to fucking hurt coming out. So I guess in that way, I was afraid of vomiting a lot of feelings all at once, and not knowing like, oh my god, this is gonna be like food poisoning, when you just don't know when it's going to stop, right? So that's how I felt. And because of this certain event that happened, it triggered all of these emotions to kind of fucking vomit out of me. And because I hadn't felt all of these intense emotions in the past, it made me feel a little cynical after a while, realizing what needed to be done, etc., etc., things coming to an end, feeling all these intense feelings that were the opposite of what they were making me feel in the first place. It was like, oh, I need to do something about it. And for me, because I hadn't felt all those intense feelings in such a long time, or like at all, and just in a completely way, I went into the route of it, instead of numbing, because I was just like, I don't want to numb, I want to face it so I don't have to repeat this, because I already know the cycles that can be broken by just acknowledging the fact that like I need to do a lot of healing. And the purple Santa Muerte and the black Santa Muerte were with me the entire fucking time through this entire fucking process. And my god, like, was that super necessary, because I started again to like look into and researching the mind. And you guys hear me constantly saying the body keeps the score, and like, okay, I need to keep my body moving, and I need to do this and that. So next week is going to hit exactly 30 days of me doing this. I have been actually microdosing for the past 3 weeks, And even though it's only been 3 weeks, it has been a fucking life-changing experience already, okay? So I cannot wait to hit the 90-day period, because I'm about to re-up and I'm about to really be on a whole game changer. But again, the reason why I kind of even came back was the help of the microdosing that I've been doing. So I've been doing a 4-3 method, where I microdose for 4 days and I take a break for 3 days. And it has helped me so much. When I tell you that I was just like, my manic episode completely ended the first week that I started microdosing. And I was just like, oh shit, it literally shut down all of my impulsive decisions, all of my just activities that I wanted to do that were kind of bitch, maybe you should rethink that one. So it helped big time. Now more than anything, what I've noticed is that with microdosing, it does make me want to start working out and wants me to be out in nature. And I don't know if that's just subconsciously or whatever it's doing. It's wanting me to kind of elevate, also avoiding eating trash. So these past 2 weeks, I have actually been trying to avoid not eating fast food, or just being more cautious of what I put in my body. So that's also been a transition. And the one that I got, I'm actually gonna put their information once I hit the 30 days and once I get my second dosage, because the things that I got were a zen. So it was more to keep calm, because obviously I was manic. I was just going through these heavy emotions, and then I realized that I was feeding onto my depression. I was feeding into my sadness, because I was listening non-fucking stop every single day to Lana Del Rey and Taylor Swift, and just songs that were basically depressing, and obviously that spoke to my soul, but my soul was just bitch, I'm tired. And it started rewiring my brain that I was more depressed than I really should be. So I'm right now in the middle of alright, rewiring the brain and making sure that obviously right now that I'm microdosing, everything that I intake, whether that's music, TV shows, anything on social media, is going to affect me even more so, because with the microdosing, what it's going to do is letting my brain know how to rewire and how to go about it. So this next dosage that I'm getting is called Happy, and it's obviously to help you with your mood, to stabilize that a little bit more, and because I need that. So again, being mindful and conscious of what needs to be done, and also having Santa Muerte by your side. She's going to guide you. And there's been times where I've gone into her altar and just please just fucking help me get out of this emotions, and she shows up and tells you what needs to be done. Now, however, if you want to take that advice, completely up to you. But I know for me that if I'm asking her for help and she's giving me an inch of what needs to be done, I'm going to take it. I'm going to make do with whatever I can, because it's really up to us to take accountability of our actions and how to go about it and how to manage that. So again, I'm not a medical doctor. I don't, you know what I mean? But still, look into resourcing. Don't just put all your marbles in one basket of this is the only way of I should just do a cord cutting, or just some healing work, or just a cleanse, and then not pay attention to everything else, because everything is in connection with us, our mind, body, and soul, our spirit, our physical being, all of it is connected. So just be mindful, again, because I was consuming so much sadness that my brain started rewiring itself of being even more depressed than it really should have been, and then catching on to that and being okay, no, I need to rewire that and go through the emotions that I need to go through. That doesn't mean I need to feed onto the negativity of those emotions if I don't need to. So when I say go through your emotions, go through them, but don't stay there, this is what the fuck I meant, because I was staying there because it started to feel comfortable, a little bit too comfortable. And that's when I started realizing that there was a pattern that needed to be broken. And it's going to be in the same basis. Ask Santa Muerte for that for that clarity of mind, so you're able to kind of figure out what needs to be done and how to go about it. But yeah, again, hopefully this helps. I think next week, once I'm done with like my full 30 days, I will do an episode on like, you know, the benefits of microdosing and what it has done, and spiritually what it has really done for me as well. So, but until next time, and I'll see you guys later.